Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. Here at the 1980 National Ultimate Championships. We brought together 5 teams from across the country, coming from an extremely large tournament field of over 300 teams, eliminating down to these top 5 teams contending for the national championships. I'm Dan Roddick, and this is Buzz Laughlin, and we'll be commentating today on this championship. Buzz, why don't you tell us about the teams we'll be seeing?
Well, today we see 2 East Coast teams playing against each other. We have the Boston Aerodisc team from the Boston. It's a club team from Boston. They are a team about 4 years old now, come together with a lot of former intercollegiate players. A fine team who's really come together this year to upset the Cornell team in the Eastern playoffs, and are facing another Eastern team today, the Glassboro State College team, former 1979 world champions, and a spirited team that we should see a lot of good play today.
As you can see, the teams are out and warming up now. The Glassboro team in the dark jerseys up here to the western end of the field. It may not look like a conventional warm-up from a typical soccer or football program. It's not a typical sport. And I think you'll see more and more of that aspect today. It's a college team. Basically, it was a phys ed school. They developed ultimate Frisbee program, I think it was about 5 years ago, and they've developed into an extremely strong unit. Over here in the green, the Aerodisc team, as Buzz has said, a club team, mostly of intercollegiate players that have now moved on to the club level of the sport. 2 very different teams that we'll be talking about as they come onto the field. We think you're going to enjoy this contest.
This is a real ground floor opportunity.
Where are you going to watch your mic? On that side? Let's give it to them around on the other end over there.
See, there's an awful lot of spirit out there from the 2 teams. Glassboro has developed a reputation as having a lot of traditions. They brought a busload of over 50 players and students down here from Glassboro. Aerodisc has a little smaller squad, but they've attracted a lot of supporters. I think we'll see equal level of spirit. It's really important in this game because it's so demanding over a long period of time to put out the energy, that developing that kind of frenzied level of enthusiasm really seems to work in the team's favor, to go out crazy, if you will, knock down the disc, get off the field, and try to stay high to keep through the whole afternoon.
Unquestionably, Dan, it seems that this sport, more than many team sports, requires that level of team psych and excitement to keep that going, especially on the defensive end of things.
It does look a bit different after you get used to the pro shuffle and seeing professional level sports out there treating it as just a job. Well, it's more than that here.
We see the captains now together in the middle of the field, about to do the disc flip to see who's going to receive and do the initial throw off for the game. That's Ed Disasway as the captain of Boston. And that's out there also in the middle of the field is Tom Kennedy, the director of the Ultimate Players Association, the sponsors for this tournament, walking off the field now.
Also out there, the co-captains from the Glassboro team.
Captain shake hands.
Glassboro is the defending championship team. We should talk perhaps a little bit about the other 3 teams that were eliminated here in the championship. They include the Michigan State squad, the Santa Barbara Condors from California, who were in the final game with Glassboro last year. Also, we had a very strong team from Texas, the Sky Pilots. Those 3 were eliminated over a series of tournament matches that have been taking place in the last 2 days.
It's interesting to note, Dan, that we have 2 teams from the East Coast playing off here today. We didn't quite see the powerhouse coming from Santa Barbara that we thought we would in this tournament. I think that tells us something about the origins of this sport as well. We've seen the origin of the sport start in New Jersey, and we've seen quite a stronghold and a lot of experienced players remaining in the East Coast of the country.
That's true. I think that it has been the case that the competition has been deeper in the East over the years, although the championship did move out to the West Coast for 2 years with the Santa Barbara program. But at this point, I think it's starting to balance out, and frankly, I don't believe that the Condors have been pressed enough this year. It hasn't really kept them in top form, whereas these 2 teams that we've seen have, I think, a total of 7 or 8 losses between them over the course of the Eastern season, where they've been pressed many, many weekends. The Condors have essentially dominated Western play, and this level of play, I think, caught them a bit by surprise this year.
No, this is...
Okay, we're about to see the opening throw-off here from Boston. We'll be throwing off to the Glassboro